Good evening and welcome to October 6, 2025, Common Council, City of Connersville. All rise for Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilor Jenny Barrett.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'd all please remain standing for invocation, Pastor.
Romans chapter 13, verses 1 and 2 says, "Let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. Consequently, whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment on themselves." Let's pray. Heavenly Father, your wisdom teaches us about what is truly important and gives us the courage to do the right thing. Your love reminds us that our compassion is not only for those we think deserving, but is for all who are in need. Your Spirit empowers us to recognize the ways in which we are blessed, and to build a community of ethics that is characterized by joy, creativity, and a spirit of service. Through our work, may this community be true to the vision of our leaders and the heritage that is our privilege to pass on. I ask your blessing upon this council as they meet this evening's task. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. We'll begin with roll call.
Councilman Williams Jr.,
Present.
Councilwoman Phillips. Present. Councilman Robb.
Present.
Councilman Gray.
Present.
Councilman Collins.
Present.
Councilwoman McQueen.
present.
Councilwoman Barrett.
Present.
Okay, we have the reading of the minutes of the September 15th meeting. Are there additions or corrections to those? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Move on down to new business. Before we get started, I do have one announcement. Really for TV, our live stream is down. We lost internet, so it will be on TV3. And as soon as we record it, then John can share it out, but it will not be live streamed on our YouTube channel, correct?
Right, that's good, but it'll be up.
It'll be up later. So we're having internet issues here. We've had them all day, so. Let's go on to new business. We have our public hearing, our first reading of pending ordinance 3999 ordinance, it's ordinance number 7059, the 2026 budget. Adam, you want to come up, sir?
Good evening, it's good to see everybody. We have public hearing tonight, which we'll want to make sure to open up here in a moment. I just wanted to give some initial kind of remarks with respect to the process, some of the state law changes, etc. Make sure everyone has what they need in their packets. And then I would suggest opening up the public hearing, see if there's anything, members of the public that have any comments. And then I can come back up to see if there's any specific questions that you may have as a result of those questions. Just as a refresher for all of you and then anyone new in the room from the public, this is an annual process. This is a required process. It was duly published for the public to be able to come and speak tonight. It is a prerequisite to you all being able to adopt the budget for 2026. And what's unique this year is, usually when we think about a budget, we think about 1 year at a time, and that is what the estimates you have before you. And my understanding is you've gotten all the department budgets, the packets, and then you have the draft Form 4 as well, which is what would need to be signed at your adoption meeting. What's unique this year is obviously with the property tax reform that the state legislature passed early this spring, signed by the governor in July. It's really short-sighted to only look at 2026. The new Senate Enrolled Act completely overhauled the deductions and property tax credits through 2031. And it has significant revenue disruption in 2028. So we've been pretty much advising every community we work with, this year especially, at the very minimum, think about this as a 2026 budget, but you're really looking into 2028 for sure, for certain, because I would be advising you poorly if I didn't show you tonight some of the impacts under current state law that are set in motion for 2028, so that as you have department requests and you're thinking about those considerations, a lot of those requests may be tied to that funding in 2028 that's at risk, okay? So with respect to some of those, just at a high level, and one of the items in your packet is our advisory memo. I would encourage you, if you have yet perused that. The bill itself, the state law is 345 pages long. Property tax reform has been taking place over the last 2.5 decades. The first being levy growth controls in the early 2000s that set the maximum amount each year, the sort of inflationary rate that the levy could increase. Then in like 2006 to 2008, you had property tax cap legislation, which taxed the total share of wallet based on the gross assessed value of a home. Fast forward to 2025, we have this, which actually creates, changes local income tax, it changes the deductions, etc. Why am I telling you all this? Well, in the 2000s and 2007 sessions, those changes were done over multiple legislative sessions. They had multiple study committees, they had multiple times to kind of be refined. This bill went through all in one session. It was I call it the McDonald's drive-through version of, I mean, the other way to explain it is every single tax parcel in the state of Indiana is impacted by this bill, okay? One of two ways, directly or indirectly. If it's a residential use property, they have a deduction change. They have either deductions or credits that they didn't have before. If it's non-residential, indirectly, as the tax rates increase in the state as a result of those residential deductions, those taxes are gonna work their way over to the commercial properties in the form of higher tax bills on commercial. So the memo that we provided goes into much more detail in sort of those deductions. 2026 is year one of those new deductions coming online, okay? The residential deductions go from essentially a 1/3 reduction today to a 2/3 reduction by 2031. So a $200,000 assessed value home today is only going to be paying taxes on 1/3 of their value by 2031, okay? Rental properties and non-homestead properties don't get a deduction today. Currently, by 2031, they will receive a 1/3 reduction in their property tax bill. Additionally, when we think about the adjustments that impact 2026, in addition to the deductions that have changed and expanded, there is a new non-homestead tax credit. So the deductions reduce the amount, the kind of value in which you pay your taxes on. A credit is a direct dollar-for-dollar reduction in taxes that you would pay. In the case of Connersville, the new homestead credit is the lower of 10% or $300 on your bill. It's a statement credit. So for example, if you have a property next year that's going to pay $2,000 in property taxes, they will receive a $200 immediate reduction. If there's a $4,000 tax bill next year, they will receive a $300 reduction, it's 10% or $300 lesser up, okay? That is a net new credit. Your revenue is reduced by $218,000 next year purely as an estimate as a result of that new credit, okay? Very good for taxpayers, but it's revenue that you otherwise would have had next year that is basically funding that credit for the property owners, okay? So on the property tax side, all of that nets out to property tax revenue, which is one of the most significant revenue sources. It is the largest revenue source for the general fund for the city. Its outlook is about 0 to 2% growth per year right now for the city. On net all these credits, net all these deductions, when we look out over 3 to 5 years, that's about what it's going to be able to grow and support your departments. The challenge with that is inflation. I think the last estimated inflation was a high 2s, low 3 number. So the takeaway there on property taxes, it's still gonna kind of chug on, but it is a slow growing revenue, okay? It is barely covering inflation. So any new staff growth, any raises in pension liability, any increases in insurance liability are gonna be inadequately funded by property tax alone, okay? Your number 2 revenue source is local income tax. That got completely overhauled in this bill as well. Right now, your local income tax of approximately, you receive about $7.5 million per year across all sources. The most recent of which is the public safety local income tax that was adopted at the county level. 100% of that goes to zero at the end of 2027. 100% of that. That's 30% of your budget, okay? That is the most significant dollar impact of the bill as a result of what the state approved this year. The bill allows, the statute now allows you to have a municipal local income tax, so you can adopt and enact your own replacement amount, and early estimates of that still suggest that there will be a haircut in 2028, even at a maximum rate, okay? So, again, not the immediate budget concern, but I just want to kind of put that out there because that is the outlook, okay? When we looked at 3 to 5 years, we have property tax 0 to 2%, and beyond 2028 is very uncertain with local income tax. It would require you all to, one, adopt that, and then two, even at the adoption, we're still looking at potentially less than you're receiving today in aggregate dollars, okay? We've been working closely with the clerk treasurer, mayor, and departments over the summer to kind of work through that. I can go through all of the sort of departmental numbers here in a moment after the public hearing, but I wanted to at least kind of speak about the sort of the high level kind of macro that's going on in the state of Indiana that's infecting all of these communities. And then in your packets, you should have all the departmental costs, the fund budgets, the draft Form 4, and then as far as process for the community today is really just an open discussion for the community. At your next regularly scheduled meeting is when I believe we're tentative for adoption. If for some reason you can't get to a decision at that point, you have until, I believe, off the top of my head, November 1st to adopt a budget. Otherwise, if you don't adopt a budget, this year's budget becomes the effective adopted budget, okay? Any immediate questions on any of the kind of high level? Otherwise, I'll pause for a second and let you open up the public hearing. Okay, thank you. I'll be right back up.
Thank
We
you.
will now open up the public hearing for pending ordinance 3999, which is ordinance 7059, the 2026 budget. Anyone from the public have any comments?
Name and address and all that?
Yes.
Sir.
James Dare, 522 Arians Avenue, lifelong Connersville resident, member of the fire department for 26 years. Appreciate all you guys being here. So, my question just at large for you, the council. A few meetings ago, you all were facing potentially what you had thought was a shortage of approximately $500,000 in the budget. And as an employee and a resident, because I don't know if you guys' heads are spinning like the rest of us when you hear Adam talk. You know, everybody don't have their head wrapped around it like he does. But it's incumbent upon all of us as taxpayers to try to understand these concepts on how the taxes are going to impact. Well, my question for you all is, in that meeting, I got the feeling that the solution was to cut or reduce or do something with more. And I just want to hear from you all, because out past 2028, as far as raises and things going that he's talking about, the shortages that are heading our way, if we don't, as a council, look to fund these services, they're going to be gone. I mean, not just a little bit, a lot. I mean, this impact is huge beyond 2028. So, I mean, what are your guys', just off the top of your head, looking to try to secure funding for these? I would just like to hear some of your guys' thoughts. Other than, well, we just can't fund that, we're just gonna have to cut. Now, when you have to cut, you have to cut, I get it. But we need to start thinking about what are some of the things, and I know you guys have talked about a pilot program and some other things. But give me some feedback to the community. You know, because one of the things that I have noticed, there's, at certain, like the GOP meeting and like a town hall, some of the state level officials have come down here, and I don't see a lot of you at those meetings. I've seen you there, Diane, and I think I may have seen you at one of them. You know, to ask these people who brought down this legislation, and I know it wasn't just one particular person, but, I mean, are you all reaching out, just like we should be, to the legislators and say, hey, look, you're crippling our community, you know? I mean, so, I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on that, as the council?
I think the first question is to address the $500 shortfall, where we went from one meeting to now we're in better shape, and I think you're the best one to explain that, Mayor.
Yeah, we addressed that at the very following meeting. We had.
I was at that meeting, I didn't.
At the next council meeting, I addressed that. I said we found when we were running numbers on payroll raises, we don't see what 1%, 2%, 3% look like. We thought we backed those out of the spreadsheet, and it did not back out. Rosemary caught it the next day. And then the other one, Adam explained, he calls it a whack-a-mole project. There he is, where you can't move money from this fund to this fund, but you can move it here and do different things. So he basically shifted funds that are monies that in a fund that had a good balance to different areas to shift it to the funds that are unbalanced. Because when you see one pot of money, it doesn't mean you can just move money wherever you want. There are certain funds that you cannot move around, and those funds were good, and the ones that were under, we could not do. So he was able to figure out where to move stuff around to make it work.
So, just so I'm clear, you know, because we talked about that the other day, and I just wanted to get that out in the public too. But, so, explain to me again how you're talking about, you were looking at increases, and that, before, you said pay rates increases, is that right?
When we were going through the budget, I want to know, what does a 1%, 2%, 3% pay raise across the entire city look like?
So, okay, so
And
would a
we've-
3% increase across the entire city equate to $500,000? Is that what? Is that what
No.
you're saying?
No.
It was a combination of that and finding stuff
Okay,
you
so
can
there was
move
something
around.
else.
Yeah,
besides-
those two, he was able to move stuff around.
Okay. That
But some of
that makes
those,
more sense.
what was presented to us, some of that was not removed. It was done as a test, and it was supposed to have gone back to with no increases, and some of them didn't get removed. So some of the information we got at that meeting was not correct,
Totally
because of an inadvertent error.
And to Adam, remember me talking to you about that 0.3%?
Yeah, the county.
Did you happen to find anything on that?
I believe it is a county option. If you can send me what you're seeing, we'll happily research it. I think it is a county option though that they have to look at.
So, okay, if the county does opt for a 0.3% lit to offset the property tax relief credit
Yeah.
loss, would we get some of that as the city?
I would be hard pressed to answer it without speaking to the county, but we can certainly investigate it.
All right. Other than that, I don't have.
I know
anything
you,
else.
can I address a couple of things?
Yeah.
So you asked the council what they did. I was at the State House several times and met with not just our legislators, but several legislators. We informed them exactly what was getting ready to happen, and they chose not to listen to us. They voted for it anyway. So now they are starting to see some of that. They're starting to feel it. I've met with our legislators several times over this topic and other topics. Even had congressional people asking me, what are you gonna do? Because they're hearing the same thing that everyone else is.
Well, yeah, you're the lead man, you're the buck stops with you, you're the top dog.
Exactly.
Mayor, so-
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, right.
But
He's also,
I'm just
Everybody's
saying.
gonna blame you.
Oh, I'm
He's
taking,
also the one that
I'm gonna
takes-
take the hit no matter
he's also the
what.
one that takes the hit for what the state's doing.
So, but and what we're saying here is, yeah, we are looking at every nook and cranny, including rates we charge for stuff. That's gonna have to be, like, in the parks, rental stuff, all that's going to have to incorporate. If we don't have a way to fund it, the only way to do it is you increase your income or you decrease your expenses. That's your two options you got.
Which is cut
So,
services.
That's cut services, so we gotta figure out how do we increase it, every single department, not just parks, not just transfer, trash, utilities. We gotta look at, what are we doing, how do we increase services, or how do we increase income, or how do we decrease expenses? And the bad thing is, when I got my budget, I had 4 weeks at them to figure this out. We didn't know what our numbers looked like, we couldn't get numbers. we got numbers, then we're scrambling trying to figure this out, so, and that budget spreadsheet is, I don't know how many pages long that is, it's enormous. So for having a couple errors in there, yeah, I take the blame for that, but it's also kind of understandable, you only had 4 weeks to scramble trying to figure everything out. The other thing is, we got stuff in the works that we presented to work on. I was hoping to have a whole year to do that. Then all of a sudden I thought, oh crap, I got 4 weeks to do this. Now we got next year to figure out how can we streamline things, make it better, increase service, increase productivity, do different things. Or at the end of the day, we have to cut services. But now we've got 12 months to figure that part out. That's not gonna happen overnight.
So as the council, would you all, rather than looking to reduce services, because nobody wants to do that.
We don't wanna do that either.
I understand, and if you have to, you have to. But it takes a lot more work to be the voice of, hey, we're not gonna reduce our services. I mean, because we have done the thing, as speaking from the fire department, over the years, when times were tough here, I mean, I've been here 26 years. I went through the housing market crash in '07, Vistion closing, the circuit breaker hitting us. And I went through that, and the fire department, and all the other departments too, answered the call, you know, to change things, to not put the burden on the taxpayer. And I think that we all have to work together for that purpose, but, you know, I don't appreciate, and I know the decisions become tough, but I would ask you not to just say, well, we got to try to trim fat. When we're already at, when I first come on the department, we had 39 guys, 3 of them in the chief's office, 36 men on duty. Well, now we got 27 guys on duty, 2 in the chief's office. We reduced our minimum staffing from 9 to 7. We took, in having 3 guys off, we had 2 guys off to try to keep us daily staffing somewhat safe for us in the community. And the one thing that I want us to understand, our philosophy at the fire department, and I think I can speak for Scott in the same vein, because we chewed the same dirt for the same amount of years. We want to provide a fire department that's worthy of being called a fire department for our citizens. And it takes money to do that, because it takes people. You know, if you're a skeleton crew, you're not going to be able to do the response times. You're not going to be able to do the search and rescue, the things that happen. And not to mention the unsafe environment for the people that work there. So that's my spiel, you know, for the council. You know, try to look to not cut services. I mean, unless you can't help but have to when there's just no money.
I think that's the consensus here.
Yeah, it's on the same
That's mine
page.
anyway.
Well, I
That
didn't
would
hear
be
that
my
consensus last time.
That would
That's
be
why
my
I-
last ditch effort, last ditch thing is to cut services. And efforts have been made, I mean, he's worked.
It's been looked at up,
and
down,
down,
backwards,
crossways,
forwards, crossways,
yeah.
whatever. With Adam's help and assistance, we probably understand it as much as we can understand it. I've sat down a couple times with dinners and talked to some of the state representatives. You look them in the face and I said, first of all, the question was, have you even read this 345-page document? And they just look at you like, are you kidding?
They have not, no.
So if you want to get on the bandwagon stuff, you write your state representative and stuff, because the predicament that they're putting us in is their fault, it's not
I
ours.
agree.
Well, I was at a meeting, like Sharon and maybe Brian were at this meeting, it was a GOP meeting, and we talked to one of the representatives. And when you were talking to a couple of them, you'd ask them the question, you know, I don't know, you know, that we're figuring that out. It's like pass it now and figure it out later.
Well, right.
And that's the way you know, we're trying to not, you know, efforts are being made to.
Yeah, we're not trying to
avoid.
pass the buck at all, I
No,
don't think. 'cause
absolutely not, absolutely not.
Well, you were there when Daniel Elliott, the treasurer, was there. And remember, he was saying that his efforts to take money that they brought in and invest it produced like $1 billion in 2 years, you know. And my question to him was, all you do is collect income tax and sales tax, and now these, and he's not legislature, I understand that.
Yeah.
But my question was, what about the cities and towns who are, gonna have to try to reduce services? Just like he was saying, they dropped down this thing, basically, okay, we're gonna lower your, tax liability by 2/3, of 2/3, but we're only gonna let you recuperate 1/3 of it. Now you figure it out.
Well, well, that's exactly what they tell us. You'll figure it out. That's what's been said. And they come up what ways we have maybe to compensate for that. They're taking those away. You go down one aisle and you think this is gonna work, and they've taken that away. And that's what they've told us. Give us some way to, you'll figure it out. I mean, I'm not trying to dodge
No,
anything,
I understand.
but that's exactly what we've been
You've got to try to
told.
wrap your head around it
Absolutely.
and chew through it.
Yep,
My number one goal, and I've said this from the beginning, is to protect our employees first.
Yeah. absolutely.
There might come a day when I may be forced to that. But everything I'm doing is try to find ways to generate revenue, to do different things, and Adam's on the phone with me all the time. How do we solve this problem so I can generate revenue, protect our employees? Because at the end of the day, we still gotta provide services.
And as an example-
That's the role of the government. It's to
I don't have a
provide the
problem saying
service.
that. I'm protecting employees first, all employees.
As an example, he's worked without a secretary for months
Yeah.
and is still trying to do that.
Months. It's been over a year.
Well,
Yeah.
months, many months, I don't know, I didn't want to say over a year, because I can't quote exact months, but it's been months, over a year. And still trying to come up with what we can. We're absolutely working at
Well, I
that.
appreciate it. I'm gonna direct this to Adam. So in that property, the property tax replacement credit, does the state use some of their sales tax to offset those losses to local communities? And is that going away? Because I've still not gotten a clear answer on that.
It is going away. Because-
Completely? Or,
Completely.
so is that why they said that 0.3 that I was
Yeah,
talking about?
Because right now, the county's enacted a 1.12 placement credit on income taxes. And that currently, as the current law is written, that generates 3.8 million a year. That's half of the 7.5 the city benefits from. That goes away as well. Now, everybody remembers the Magic 8 Ball. The Magic 8 Ball here is that there's 2 more legislative cycles before that hits. So this is the time to call your state reps and talk to them, because there's 2 more sessions between that and that goes to 0. There are committees that are looking at it. There's a lot of communities going through these budgets, having similar public hearings this week. But what we can do in this room is limited. You know what I mean? We're reacting to the law here. I would encourage you to definitely, everybody, anyone who's interested, to reach out. They need to hear this stuff.
So would you say it's a quick fix or something they could do legislatively? I know this is all conjecture, but, our sales tax goes to, that's what used to fund the loss of revenue for property tax. Well, but we don't collect a dime of sales tax locally.
Yeah. Or, the pink elephant is, how many prime boxes hit a porch every day? There's not a single sales tax on that. I mean, there's plenty of revenue opportunities that the state is also saying no to. And unfortunately, I mean, they're basically, as the local cities and towns, we have to prove that we're worth it. You know what I mean? We have to show that these services are worth it and demand it. I mean, the state reps to some extent reacted to calls they got, and the calls they got were to lower bills.
Well, that's all I got. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Very good questions, Jim.
Yep.
Last call. Adam, you got anything else you want to close with?
Yes.
I'll close the public hearing,
Yep.
sorry. Adam, come on up, sir.
He's been great, by the way. Really, all the departments have been, public safety especially, Fire department, top of that list. They've had a lot of good questions. They've been very engaged and a good partner. They've asked, I think they've asked me, I would say, you know, Clerk Treasurer has heard me say this is a team sport. This isn't, you know, me sitting in a spreadsheet. This is their budgets, right? We're just trying to help them work through it. This year has been tough because we've had a lot of external factors that are in the mix. But we will continue to try to share best practices. And so what I want to do now is I just want to just quickly into the record. I'll go through each department's kind of summary budget. I won't belabor it unless you want me to. I can go line by line, but what I'll do is just kind of just quickly touch on like the departmental level allocations and the sort of total budget allocation. And then as you look over it, if you have any questions for the departments, either now or at the next meeting, feel free to kind of dig in. But I'll try to point out a few kind of notable things. So across all, there are funds and there are departments. Funds are, think about those as the checkbooks, okay? They're not necessarily funding sources. Funding sources are revenues and local. Funds are sort of what checkbook is it getting paid from. And then within each of those funds, there are various different departments or budget units that have responsibility over certain spending within that area. So the numbers I'm going to tell you are at the departmental level across any of the funds that they have. So it's truly the department's budget, whether it's just in the general fund or if it, you know, I'm giving you the aggregate number that department costs the city, okay? So the aggregate budget that is introduced is $21,039,788. That is up over 2025's budget by 1.75%, okay? So as I went back to my earlier, the property tax outlook is about 0 to 2%, and we have incredible uncertainty on local income tax. So we're trying to be conservative. 1.75% aggregate increase is what all of those roll up to be, under the 2% sort of sustainable rate that we're trying to target to. The proposed budget that you have does not include every single department request. All the department's requests were $21,468,130, or about just shy of 4% higher year over year. So there was basically about 50% of the requests, closer to like 46% of every request ultimately made it in the introduced budget. Going down the list, there are There are 18 different budgets or kind of departmental units in the budget packets that you have. 7 of those were either a zero change or a negative, actually a reduction in budget year over year. The balance of those had a net increase. I'll read down the department name and then the amount. These are in order as far as largest to smallest in budgetary allocation, okay? Fire department is requesting $3,878,658. That represents an increase of $81,480 over the 2025 budget. Police department, $3,659,763, an increase of $74,483. EMS first aid, $2,550,488, an increase of $8,564. Public safety, like in most cities and towns, is majority of the budget allocation. They represent about half of the overall budget increase year over year. Street department actually saw a net reduction in budget. That is a revenue constraint consideration. Their budget was reduced by $83,295. There's budget for debt service of $1,832,329. That's up $35,484. No department, which is really just like property, insurance, kind of non-assigned items, $1,563,260. It's up $171,500. Parks is at $1,154,436. It had a net reduction as a result of revenue constraints of $48,980. City council, $1,184,613, down $90,000 $90,109 year over year. Landfill, $844,099, up $1,919. DOT solid waste, $796,177, an increase of $54,623. Almost done. Public safety local income tax, $793,990, up $143,990. City Hall, $316,259, up $33,360. Clerk treasurer, $287,733, up $20,372. TV3, $222,000 even, up $6,837. Airport, $181,040, down year over year $8,985. 3 to go. Mayor, $93,763, down $19,601. Attorney, $62,859, down $20,000. Cemetery, $3,200, no change. So the total aggregate of all those changes, pluses and minuses, was an absolute aggregate amount of increase of $361,642, or a percent increase of 1.75% year over year. I'm happy to answer any high-level questions that you have now, or work to kind of follow up. If there's any questions, you can call me, email me, whatever, between now and the next meeting. Otherwise, I know any of the kind of specific questions, I'll have to defer to the department heads, just because they know that information. But any of the financial, I'm happy to take a swing at.
Any questions for Adam?
Adam, in the past, we've emailed back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put a number on it, but how many options have we looked at that you're gonna bring to us after this is passed or not? Into the end of the year, beginning of the year, how many options are you immediately looking at that you're making a recommendation for?
Options to do what? To balance the budget?
Balance the budget from now until 28, 31,
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be bringing, especially as we get closer to 2028, there will be multiple options that we bring. You know, as far
Do
as.
you have any off the top of your head that you're looking at?
Yeah, pass a
specifically?
local income tax, would be one, that comes to mind. That's $7.5 million problem right there. Yeah, I mean, some of this is gonna be like, this is brand new. I mean, this is brand new stuff. Like, we need to see kind of where the other shoe drops, if you know what I mean here, right? Like, I think the next legislative session, the 2026 session is gonna be really important. That's why I encourage anybody who's got, concerns coming out of this cycle to definitely reach out and do it soon, because they start session first of the year. The reason I'm saying that is because, like, we're hoping that there's gonna be some, like, counter laws, to kind of, I'm gonna say, walk back into this. There are people that are saying this is gonna be appealed. I am not one of those. I would not put any percentage on that. But what I think you may see is some bills that create some opportunities that we just don't exist in state law today. So we would obviously bring those to you. As far as the budget that you have, I'm actually pretty pleased with it. I mean, your, federal government is shut down right now, and you're passing a budget that's, below inflation increase. I mean, that's relatively something to be proud of in this environment. Your fund reserves are great. Your department heads have each, as you saw, I mean, each of them have already, not gotten everything that they asked for. So from my perspective, I think that it's really gonna be now just proactively thinking about 2028 and trying to put a game plan together. And that's, I don't have one today that fully solves it, but we don't need it today. You know what I mean? We need to let the kind of dust settle on some of these things. Right now, today, if you have passed what was in state law, we would have a haircut in 2028. But we hope that we have some income growth between now and then that cuts into that. And we hope that we have maybe some adjustments to state law that'll ease some of that as well.
Any questions? We got a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
Yep, sure do.
it is, I'll just say this is just Adam speaking, taxpayer in Indiana. I I'm fearful for that the bill is going to have the opposite, I think the state law change. You're gonna end up saving someone $300 on property tax and costing them $1,000 in other things. That's, I just think that's gonna how this thing all shakes out. And I'm not a politician, so maybe that is or isn't what they intended to do, but I think as it goes, I think that's what you're gonna see. Is it's gonna be a shift, and the net differential is going to be higher. So, thank you, I look forward to, if you have any questions, I'm wide open. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
First reading,
First reading.
Okay. Okay, so we're just going to do the first reading this time. The next meeting will be the second final reading, so I just need a motion on the first reading to approve pending ordinance 3999 and ordinance 7059, the 2026 budget.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Rob,
Yes.
Councilman Gray,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
No.
Councilwoman McQueen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Barrett,
Yes.
Councilman Williams Jr.,
Yes.
Councilwoman Phillips.
Yes.
And the final hearing will be, or the final reading will be the next meeting in October. The next two items we can take together, we have pending ordinance 4000, which is transfer of police, and pending ordinance 4001, transfer MVH fringe, MVH insurance. Rosemary?
Pending ordinance 4000 is a transfer within the police department, moving $6,000 from other employees to uniforms. Pending ordinance 4001 is a transfer within MVH, moving $11,000 from fringe into insurance.
Have a motion to approve pending ordinance 4000 and 4001 first reading?
So moved.
Or, no?
So moved also.
Oh, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We have a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We have a motion for third and final reading.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next, we have item D. We have pending ordinance 4002, which is ordinance number 7062. It's add 2 handicap parkings. The Board of Works did approve this to send to you guys. It's 722 Western Avenue and 520 West 21st Street.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion? And a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Do we have a motion to suspend the rules?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Do I have a motion for third and final reading?
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next, we can take resolutions 2025-72 through 79. Rosemary?
Resolution 2025-72 is a resolution to transfer $153.66 from utilities bank safe into water O&M. Resolution 2025-73 is a resolution to transfer $153.66 from water O&M to Trust Indiana. Resolution 2025-74 is a resolution to transfer $815.43 from utilities bank safe into wastewater O&M. Resolution 2025-75 is a resolution to transfer $815.43 from wastewater O&M into wastewater Trust Indiana. Resolution 2025-76 is a resolution to transfer $658.53 from utilities bank safe into stormwater. Resolution 2025-77 is a resolution to transfer $658.53 from stormwater into stormwater Trust Indiana. Resolution 2025-78 is a resolution to transfer $53.66 from cable bank safe into cable fund. Resolution 2025-79 is a resolution to transfer $399.88 from general bank safe into general.
Any questions for Rosemary? If not, entertain a motion to approve resolution 2025-72 through 79.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to old business. Anyone any old business? Miscellaneous business? Public. Oh, sorry.
There's a, exhibit opening Friday night with Hector Perez, one-man show, at the Art Gallery.
Okay, thank you. Any other miscellaneous business? Okay, open up to the public. Anyone from the public got anything to say? Come on up, sir. State your name and address.
I'm Joseph Blimpus, well, grew up here, moved away, keep going back and forth and back now. I live at 418 East 12th Street. I own Joey's Dog Pound, which is a visiting card. I've been setting up over on the east side, had a great turnout, good response from the community. The community's been asking me if there would be any way I could set up down here towards the courthouse. So I'm here to ask permission to set up down here towards the courthouse.
When were you wanting to do that?
Through the week when the business is going on,
What days?
Monday through Friday.
Every day?
I usually sit at 9 and leave by 4. I leave nothing, no trash behind. I'm licensed, I've got all my insurance. I deal with the health department, we're in good terms. I have a commissary kitchen, which we just signed a lease on 103 Vine Street. Every hoop I think I've jumped through.
That's going to be a Board of Works decision, not a council decision to do that. So it have to be at the next meeting, which is October. Hold on, I'm trying to put my calendar up, it's not working. Oh, we don't have internet, do we? That's why.
It'll be the 20th.
20th.
That's
At 6
October,
o'clock.
at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock,
6 o'clock, right here?
right here.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other from the public? Okay, I don't hear any, so I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Have a good evening.